Welcome everybody to episode 2 of Mad&Max Try to Save the World. We are going to be talking today about a topic so many people have been asking us about, which is how to plan an eco-friendly, low-waste, sustainable wedding, and is it even possible? So I'm going to move this video down because it looks like I'm naked. For anyone watching, I'm wearing my wedding dress because I thought, hey, why the hell not? Like, you get married once, might as well rewear the dress / hashtag sustainable. I did a zero waste wedding. Let's just start with that, Max. Like, I did a zero waste wedding. Do you want to call it zero waste? Probably not. I would probably consider it more low waste, to be honest, because I wasn't perfect when you consider travel and a few other things that go into it. And Max and I decided to go ahead and just get really real with you guys about the challenges we both went through when we were planning our wedding, the things that I came across as I planned my zero waste wedding.
Is there anything incredibly complicated you had to deal with in terms of ensuring a zero waste wedding?
I didn't find it that complicated. I felt like I was just planning a big dinner. I did have to spend some time really thinking, what do I need? What am I willing to not have?
I did not have to sacrifice a lot of my time and a lot of my money. If you want not to sacrifice too much, then do a zero waste or low impact or minimalistic wedding.
And sometimes I'd like to point out here, sometimes my sister are like, are you being cheap or are you being sustainable? And I'm like, girl, sustainable is a byproduct of cheap. Sometimes when I'm on a budget, it actually ends up being better for the planet.
Did you do programs and menus? Because that generally also involves a lot of paper.
No.
In my case, obviously, I forgot, as you ask.
Max just forgot everything, and I was just too cheap. Yeah! Sustainable weddings!
In my case, it was really important to keep everyone on a budget on my wedding.
Yeah.
A very interesting way that I got all my friends involved was I used all my friends' skills.
Yeah.
So some friends were graphic designers, others were fashion designers. I had a friend who was great in music, so I just asked him to find me a playlist. You know, it took away so much pressure out of my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I ended up focusing on the things that no one can do for you.
So there's always, I'm sure most people listening have one or two friends who are like type A planners. If they're willing to help and you're on a budget, make it fun. You know, I have type A planners in my family, but they've all said they did not want to help. And that's why I got a wedding day coordinator. So shout out to Jennifer, who was awesome and so helpful and so wonderful with my vision for a zero waste wedding. She really went above and beyond, like not getting plastic, making sure whatever she got was not plastic. So I really appreciated that. As we start coming back in, really supporting small businesses, and your local business is something I would really impart to people, your local baker, your local butcher, your local caterer. And DIY truly is, it can be beautiful and fun. It's really about finding the value and finding meaning and whatever that means for you.
Opportunity for you to get incredibly creative and upcycle. There is a zillion amount of ideas on Pinterest. My big tip is go on Pinterest right now if you're starting to organize your wedding and just create your boards for everything, because people are just so amazing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of looking at what are you sacrificing. That's the question. Are you sacrificing your time and money, or are you sacrificing, like, maybe you don't need a pretty little menu at every single table if you have 500,000 people there, you know, because those menus add up. So are you sacrificing your menu? Maybe, but then again, you're also saving a shit ton of money and you're also, you know, being more sustainable. So that's a really good way. I think, what are you sacrificing? Again, goes back to what your values are. And we can't define those values for you guys, for anyone listening or watching.
A big thing was for us not to let ourselves influence by family members trying to tell us, you have to invite this person, which I think it is a big thing in weddings, and a lot of people fight around this. We were crystal clear. We're like, no, we can't. We are on a low budget. The house is small, and we're only going to invite the people we care about. I mean, not meaning that the other people in the family care about them, but we don't have a relationship. And that's where, for me, being authentic in my wedding was my biggest thing. And what about the cake?
You're gonna I'm so embarrassed to share this with the world. I didn't care about the cake. So we ended up getting churros as a dessert for everyone, which was so fun. Little churros for everyone was so delicious. The symbol of cutting the cake with your husband for the first time. I went to Whole Foods the day before my wedding, and I was like, I don't care what it is. I went in and I got this tiny little vegan chocolate cake, but we had this huge knife that my sister was letting me use. So I had this huge knife to cut this tiny little cake. It literally was like this big.
In my case, I forgot about the cake. So I suddenly have got like one of my best friends. She actually got married with her best girlfriend in Mexico, and she learned there in Mexico how to do these giant fruit cakes. And she's like, hell yes! So she came with like all the bags full of fruit, and in like 30 minutes she did like the most beautiful cake of fruits. Did you allow your guests to take away their food once the wedding was finished?
So we actually planned it so there was no leftover food.
In my case, we did our own food. We bought it all in the supermarket the day before, and we encouraged all our friends to come in earlier and help us cook.
I love it.
Which was a lot of fun, but also a little bit of a nightmare, because the thing is that I didn't sleep properly the night before because I was so nervous and stressed out about cooking all that food. But it was so beautiful to see so many people coming together to cook together. It was just like, I think that's one of my most important memories. The biggest food waste we had, we bought a lot of bread. You know, we thought people would eat bread. We spent like $200 in bread. And when people were leaving the wedding, we were giving them a bottle of whatever drink and a bag of bread. So it's please take this bread.
They say bread and wine, you know, is the staple of all meals. How do you think people should approach it? Like, if they're trying to be sustainable, what is one way they can think about food and beverage, in your opinion?
It is my duty to share this in the conversation. For you to be the most sustainable possible when it comes to food is just have a vegan spread and avoid it if you can. In terms of beverage, I think the way you did it is the most sustainable, because you bring the big kegs, you avoid all these like single-use packaging. So.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is try to avoid single-use packaging as much as possible if you can. And when you talk to if you end up doing something bigger, talk to your wedding day coordinator, the bartender, just ask them, like, please use cloth, or please don't give. People should use one cup the whole time, put your name on it with chalk or something. That's another option you can do to reduce how many cups and glasses there are.
That happened in my wedding. One of our friends, because everyone was doing their own thing in my wedding, apparently. So I had he had a surprise for us. Okay, so our venue was in the middle of the bushes. So we were surrounded by olive trees, you know, beautiful green mountain. We're floating lanterns. You know, like, it was just such a beautiful thing. Everyone was putting the floating lanterns, making their wishes for us. And suddenly I saw all these lanterns there. I thought it was just magic. And then suddenly I had like, oh, this is fire. Like, we're surrounded by nature. So I had this moment of freaking out. Are we going to make a bushfire here?
Yeah.
So I went from the most beautiful moment to
the most scary moment.
Yeah.
I panicked.
Yeah.
So please don't do it. Especially if in the middle of the mountain, in the bush.
I think if I could change one thing about my wedding, our wedding contract, which I didn't see, we had to be out of our venue by 10:30.
Oh.
Yeah, and I didn't pay attention to that. So by 10:30, I was like, okay, bye everyone. Go to the bar if you want to have a good time. I mean, Grandma Maddie, which I am, I was like, I'm going to go to bed. But was